Welcome to section 8.3, circles. In circle, we're going to talk about finding the circumference and the area. Now, the formula for circumference is C, when you C to represent circumference, is equal to 2 pi r, meaning 2 times pi times r. R is our radius. Area, we're going to use A to represent area. Area equals pi times r squared. So our radius is square. Now, here I illustrate that pi is approximately 3.14. So when you ever see pi and you have to work with pi, you're going to use the value 3.14. Now, there's one thing I forgot to add. For circumference, there's another part you can do. So instead of 2 pi r, if you don't have the radius but you do have the diameter, it's going to be pi times diameter. So let me repeat, if you have the diameter and you're looking for circumference, it's just simply diameter times pi, and that's all it is. So make sure you have this in your notes. Memorizing is fairly easy. Area is just pi r squared. Circumference is 2 pi r, or pi times diameter. So that's all you have to do. And we're going to use just 3.14. In this section, we're going to be working on multiplying with decimals. So make sure to make good notes on how to multiply with decimals, including adding with decimals. So make sure you have good notes on that. In our first example, we have a picture of a circle where it's illustrated that the radius is 5 inches. Now, you may have to do where, if given a picture of a circle, you might have to find circumference and area. So, let's do circumference. So, circumference is equal to 2 times pi times 5. I'm not going to worry about the units. I'm just going to worry about the numbers. Now, circumference, make sure to include units at the end. Circumference is the distance around the circle. So it's very similar to finding perimeter, but we're using a different formula because we're dealing with circles. So this is the formula to find perimeter of a circle, or also known as circumference of a circle. Now, what I'm going to do first is multiply my numbers that are given, that's shown here, besides pi. So 2 times 5, that's simply going to become 10 times pi. Alright? Now, what we do is switch out pi with 3.14. So 10 times 3.14. Now, when we're multiplying with decimals, I'm going to write out the work here. Make sure you follow the process to the closest detail because we're going to be working with decimals in this semester. First, I'm going to set up my decimal because it has 3 digits, so 3.14 times 10. Alright, so just like the basic work of multiplying real numbers, I'm going to start off with a 0. 0 times 4 is 0. 0 times 1 is 0. 0 times 3 is 0. Alright, now I'm working on my 1. So what I'm going to do is going to skip a space or add a 0 here. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. So I finished multiplying with my numbers. I'm going to combine them. So 0, 0, that's 0. 0 and 4, that's 4. 0 and 1, that's 1. And then 3. Now from there, if I take a look at the original number, it has 2 decimal places. So what I'm going to do is, starting from the right, I'm going to move 2 decimal places. So this will become 31.4. So my circumference is 31.4 inches. So that's my final answer for the circumference. Now, let's say that you're asked to do area. So, A for area is equal to pi r squared. Now, we have pi, and then our radius is 5. So, make a little note when you have your information. It's always best to write out what you know. So, radius is 5 inches. That will help you a lot. So, 5 with the square. So, we fill out the work for our area. So what I'm going to do next is work with the 5 square. 5 square is 25 times pi. So I did from step 1 to step 2 was did the square of 5. Now from there, I'm going to fill in for pi, which is 3.14. Now I'm going to do the work here. So the one with the most digits, 3.14, I'll put on the top. Multiply by 25. Alright. So same work as what we did here. 5 times 4, that's 20. Carry the 2. 5 times 1, that's 5. Plus 2, that's 7. 5 times 3, that's 15. Alright, now I'm done with the 5, I'm working with the 2. So what I'm going to do is skip a space or add a 0 here. 2 times 4, that's 8. 2 times 1, that's 2. And then 2 times 3, that's 6. Now I'm going to add it up. 0, 0, that's going to become 0. 7 plus 8, that's going to be 15. I carry the 1 up here. 1 plus 5 plus 2, that's going to be 8. 1 plus 6, that's 7. Now, since I multiply with decimals, I'm going to look at the original. I notice that it's 2 decimal places, 1, 2. So starting from the right, I'm going to move 2 decimal places, 1, 2. So right here. So my final answer will be 78.50 or 0.5. If it's in with a 0, you can drop it. But if you include it, it's still technically correct and it still count as long as you write it correctly. So my area A is equal to 78.5. Now be very careful, since we do an area, I didn't include it in here because I was mainly focused on a number. If it was 5 inches square, that means 5 inches times 5 inches, that's going to be 25 inches square. So my units is inches square. So again, area is 78.5, I repeat, 78.5 inches square. So that's basically the work if you're given this picture of a circle and you're asked to find circumference and area. In this example, we have a circle where you're given with a line that's connecting from one side to the other side of the circle. That means that you were given a diameter of 18 meters. So my diameter is 18 meters. Now, if you were looking for a radius, radius is equal to half of the diameter, or diameter divided by 2, which is simply 9 meters. Now the reason I was looking for a radius is because you might be doing area. So just like the same process as the last example, let's do circumference. So circumference, you can use radius because you found it, or you can use diameter. So let's try working with diameter. So circumference, C, equal pi times our diameter. Our diameter is 18 meters, but I'm going to worry about the numbers. Just make sure to include your proper units at the end. So I'm going to plug in for pi 3.14 times 18. So just like the last work, 3.14 times 18. Alright, working from there, I'm going to start off with the 8. 4 times 8, or 8 times 4, that's 32. So here's a 2, carry the 3. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 3 is 11. So bring down the 1, and then carry the 1. 8 times 3, that's 24, plus 1, that's 25. Alright, I'm finished with the 8, now I'm working the 1. 1 times 4, 4. I skipped a space, so I added 0. Make sure you remember that. 1 times 1, 1. 1 times 3, 3. Alright, I'm going to add up my numbers. So, 2 and 0, that's going to be 2. 1 and 4, that's going to be 5. 5 and 1, that's going to be 6. 2 and 3, that's going to be 5. Alright. Now remember, since I multiply where one of the numbers is a decimal, so I'm going to look at the original. 1, 2 decimal places. So that's total. So here it's 0 decimal places, 2 decimal places. So the total is 2. So starting from the right, I'm going to move 2 decimal places. So right here. So it's going to be 56.52. So that means that my circumference right here will be 56.52. So 56.52 meters. So that's my final answer. For circumference. Now, say that you were asked to find area. So you would do this work to find radius in order to use a formula, because it only works if you have radius. So A equal pi r squared. So my pi here, my radius is 9, so 9 square. So 9 square will be 81. So 81 times pi, my pi is 3.14 times 81. So it looks like this is going to be a big number. Alright, so I'm going to set up my work. So 3.14 times 81. Alright, starting with my 1. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Alright, now working with my 8. So skip a space or add a 0. 8 times 4, that's 32. So put a 2 here and carry the 3 right here. 8 times 1 is 8 plus 3, that's 11. So bring down a 1 and then carry the other 1. 8 times 3, that's 24 plus 1, that's going to be 25. Now I'm going to add up my area, my numbers. 4 and 0, that's simply 4. 1 and 2, 3. 3 and 1, that's 4. Nothing here, so it's just going to be 5. Nothing here, that will be 2. Now remember, I worked with decimals, so make sure to have the amount of decimal places you have. So here in the first one, 1, 2, so 2 decimal places. My 81, there's 0 decimal places, so my total is 2. Starting from my right, 1, 2. So the correct form is 254.34. So my area will be 254.34. Now remember, I'm working with areas, and since it's meters, it's going to be meters squared. So this is my final answer for the area, which is 254.34 meters squared.